What's going on, Washington fans? Happy Monday. After tonight without football, it is a normal week for the Washington Commanders, and we have business on Sunday to handle. With that said, today is my official record prediction / season prediction for the Washington Commanders. Buckle up. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a good episode today. Before we get into it, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video. Hit that subscribe button. Close to 3,000 subscribers. Well, not close, but we're getting there. So help me to get there. Trying to get to 5,000 by the end of this season, which I think is very possible. Hit the subscribe button. Giants Commanders Week 1. We'll start with that game, and it is my season preview for the Washington Commanders. Before we start, I want to get into what I'm going to be doing on the channel this week. So, prediction today, Tuesday, we'll figure that out. Wednesday, figure that out. Thursday, hate watch. I'll be doing a watch party. Join me. Friday night, Brazil game. Watch party for that. Sunday, I will be at the Giants-Commanders game, and I'll have my post game out for that Sunday night. It's going to be a busy week. Let's get to it. So, Giants at Commanders, Week 1. That is our schedule, Week 1. Giants at Commanders at Northwest Stadium. This is going to be closer than people think, okay? Very close game. But I think the Commanders are going to win this game, okay? And I think the Commanders will start the season 1-0, okay? So I think the Commanders come out this Sunday with the W. I think it's going to be within 3 to 6 or 7 points of a game. I think it's going to be really close, closer than people think, but I think the Commanders handle business at home on September 7th this week. One of the only 1 o'clock games we have this season. My preview for this game will be coming out Friday this week. Then you have a short week. You go Thursday night, September 11th, just 4 days after we hopefully are coming off a win against the Giants. 8:15, Thursday night football, Washington at Green Bay. It's going to be a big game on Prime Video. Now, this is one of the games that people are underestimating. I think that Green Bay has a great shot this game. They just traded for Micah Parsons. I mean, this is going to be a tough one. You're going to be coming off Week 1 where whether you win or lose against the Giants D-line is going to rough you up. Whether you win or lose. There's no denying that, okay? So, you're on a short week, Thursday night football, Lambeau Field. Don't get mad at me in the comments, but I think the Green Bay Packers come out here with a win. Do I think it's a close game? Yes, of course I do. So, I think the Commanders start the season 1-1. That is a much harder game than people think, as all of these are. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be biased. Packers are going to get the win Week 2. I hate to say it. Then you return home, 1 o'clock, Raiders at Commanders. Commanders, this is an easy win for the Commanders. A refresh week after losing on Thursday Night Football, and you settle in, and you have a long break after Thursday Night Football. You return to Sunday Football. You beat the Raiders on September 21st. You are now 2-1 on the season. And then you go 1 o'clock at Atlanta, Commanders at Falcons. This is September 28th. Commanders are at the Falcons. Commanders have beaten the Falcons, what I believe is 5 years in a row. Maybe 4, but we beat the Falcons every year. Moral of the story. That's the moral of the story. I think the Commanders win this game, and I think they start 3-1. I think they beat the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be a good team this year. I think that's going to be another close game, but I think the Commanders ultimately start 3-1 here. So you win against the Giants, you lose against the Packers, you win against the Raiders, win against the Falcons. That is 3-1. Now, you have a tough one. You're on the road again. Washington at LA, October 5th, first game of October. 4:25, you face the Chargers. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a very tough game. But I think that the Commanders lose this game. I hate to say it, but I think you lose this game against the Chargers. It's a long trip, and I understand the Commanders may be better than the Chargers, but the Chargers in midseason form are really, really good at this time. I think it's going to be a rough one for the Commanders, but I think it's going to be a really close game. I think the Commanders lose to the Chargers Week 5. You are now 3-2, which is still a pretty good record. You're still in the hunt for everything, so don't lose sight of that. You are now 3-2, and you have the Bears at the Commanders October 13th. This is Monday Night Football at 8:15 p.m. I think the Commanders beat the Bears on Monday Night Football at home, and I think the Commanders are now 4-2 on the season after that. So you're 4-2, you beat the Bears on Monday Night Football. I think the Bears are going to be a much improved team this season, but I think the Commanders are going to be the better team. I think that they are going to edge the Bears out, especially at home, especially off coming up, what happened last year, coming off with that, the Hail Mary. So I think the Commanders beat the Bears on Monday Night Football there. You're now 4-2 on the season, and again, very much in the mix. Commanders at the Cowboys, Fox 425 game. This one is going to be hard. Okay, people underestimate the Cowboys this year. I understand they traded away Micah Parsons, but people underestimate the Cowboys this year, especially at Dallas with Rain Dakota Prescott back. This is going to be a very, very challenging game for the Commanders, and I think the Commanders lose this game and fall to 4-3. You're on the road, okay? Dallas is a much improved team from last year. Dallas was virtually the only team to have figured out Jaden Daniels last season, okay? And they figured out this Commanders offense pretty well. So there's something there that we don't know. I think the Cowboys win this game. I think the Commanders move to 4-3, and you have a tough schedule coming up. You have Chiefs, Seahawks, Lions after this. Those are your next 3 games. So you're 4-3. You just took one on the chin to the Cowboys. You're now on the road again. Monday Night Football, 8:15. Chiefs, Commanders. So I think the Commanders lose this game. I think the Commanders find themselves in control a lot this game, and I think Patrick Mahomes comes back. A few late scoring drives. The Chiefs find a way to put points on the board, and I think the Commanders take the L. You're now 4-4 on this season. It's a tough first part of the year. You lose to the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, but I said the schedule is going to be hard this year. People don't want to accept it. Do I think the team's ready? I do, and you'll see that later in the video. But Commanders, Chiefs, I think the Chiefs take this one on Monday Night Football. You are now 4-4 on the season. Sunday Night Football, we are going to be in the Super Bowl era uniforms that we introduced this offseason. 8:20, Sunday Night Football, NBC, Seahawks at Commanders. This one's a win for the Commanders. I think a pretty controlling win. Do I think it's a blowout? No, but I think it's a controlling win. I think the Commanders find a way to edge out the Seahawks here, and I think the Commanders win this football game. And you are now 5-4 on the season, which again, you're still in the hunt, but it's been a tough one. It's been a tough start to the season. Seahawks, Commanders take the W on Sunday Night Football in our throwback uniforms. I think this will be a nice refresh game. You just played the Cowboys on the road. You lost. You just played the Chiefs on the road, and you lost, at least in my schedule prediction. So the Seahawks are going to lose to the Commanders on, let's see when that game is, November 2nd, Sunday Night Football. Now you have the Lions at Commanders. Again, another home game. 4:25 on Fox, America's game of the week. Lions at Commanders. Look what the Commanders did last year to the Lions. You see what they did last year. You see what happened last year, and you see the Lions fans making excuses. They were injured and all these different excuses. We watched the quarterback show on Netflix, Jared Goff's wife taunting us, saying that we were going to be an easy win, and Jaden Daniels comes in there and fries the Lions. I think the same thing happens here. I think the Commanders beat the Lions. I don't think it's going to be as an aggressive score as it was last time, but I think the Commanders do win this game at home. I could see like a 26-23 type score here. Really, really close game, obviously, but The Commanders beat the Lions at home. It's 425. It's a big game. Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff. I think we beat the Lions again for a second straight time. And after this game, you are now 6-4 on the season. Okay, you are 6-4 on the season. So it's a good start. It's a good start. Maybe not what some people would have wanted, but it's a tough schedule this year. So you're 6-4. You come off a big win on America's Game of the Week against the Lions. You now have to travel to Madrid, Spain. You are traveling to Madrid, Spain for Week 11 football at 6-4. You're very much in the hunt. This counts as a home game for the Dolphins, which is very good. If this would have counted as a home game for the Commanders when you're in Spain, that's a big deficit. That's a big loss. But this is an away game for the Commanders and a game where both teams have to travel. So 9:30 a.m., NFL Network, Madrid, Spain. Commanders are going to kick the Dolphins here. I don't think, Tua might not even be here. But I don't think this is an easy game for the Commanders by any means. You're traveling far. But I think the atmosphere, the travel, the young players that haven't done this before, that's going to be the hardest part of the game other than the Dolphins team. But I think the Commanders win this game. You kick off your Sunday at 9:30 and you get a win. Now you get to sit back and watch all the other teams play while you're sitting on a win against the Dolphins. You are now 7-4 on the season, and I told you guys we would come back. So we're 7-4 on the season. You now find yourself on a streak of the Dolphins game is technically a home game for both teams. It's not really an away game is what I'm trying to say. You played at home against the Seahawks, you win. You played at home against the Lions, you win. Commanders, Dolphins, you can count it as whatever. But I think the Commanders beat the Dolphins. Broncos, Commanders. Broncos are at the Commanders on Sunday Night Football, 8:20. Commanders will be wearing their Super Bowl era uniforms for this game once again. And I think you go and you win 4 games in a row. The Commanders are now at 8-4. The Broncos are not going to be an easy task. The Broncos are not going to be an easy team to overcome. They're not going to be an easy team to overcome this year. Their defense is going to be wicked this year. But with that said, I think the Commanders come Northwest Stadium, Sunday Night Football, in their throwbacks, and I think they win this football game. I think they beat the Broncos, and it's going to be a very close game. You can count on that, but you can also count on a Commanders win. JD5 gets the best of Bo Nix. I mean, that game's going to be a really fun game. Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels lining it up. That's going to be a really fun game, but I think the Commanders come out and they win this football game. And you're now 8-4 on the season. And you're now probably what we would hope to be the lead of the NFC East teams. Okay? And you come off a big win on Sunday Night Football. But you haven't played a 1 o'clock game in so long. You're now playing a 1 o'clock game. And Commanders at the Vikings, you're now playing a 1 o'clock game. This one's going to be closer than people think. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a good quarterback. This one is going to be a close game here. And it's hard to make a prediction for this. I think the Commanders do win this football game. Okay? I think barely on December 7th, the Commanders win this football game at 1 o'clock. I think they beat the Vikings. And I think you're now 9-4 on the season. So it's been a great start to the season. You started 4-4. You're now 9-4. You've won 5 games in a row. You're now looking at 4 games in a row of divisional opponents, and we know these are the hardest games of the NFL season. But you're 9-4, so you have a good gap. You have a good gap this year. So Commanders beat the Vikings. You're now 9-4, but J.J. McCarthy, that Vikings team, they might have roughed you up. Now you're looking at the Giants. You're back to 1 o'clock games. Okay, so this one's going to be another 1 o'clock game. Commanders at the Giants. And by this time, we could see Jameis Winston. By this time, we could see Jackson Dart. By this time, it could still be Russell Wilson, and the Giants are cooking. But we beat them week 1, okay? And I don't see anything changing. I think we sweep the New York Giants like last year, and we are now going to be 10-4. 6 wins in a row. It's 6 wins in a row for this football team, and you beat the New York Football Giants. So you come off a 1 o'clock game, power to your name. I think you, with an improved roster, yes, I understand that the Giants, their D-line's really good, but I just don't, that quarterback situation, it's not good, and their whole offense isn't great. But I think the Commanders beat the Giants November 14th, 1 o'clock, you beat the Giants on Fox, and you are now 10-4 on the season. Much better than last year, but is the outcome going to be the same as last year? 60 minutes away from the Super Bowl. That's what you need to pay attention here coming up. So, you beat the Giants, you're 10-4. You now are at home against the Eagles. You're at home against the Eagles November 20th, and this is December 20th. Sorry about that. You are now at home against the Eagles. The start time for this game is undecided. The start time for this game has not been released yet. It is to be determined. So Eagles at Commanders, either way, we're going to be at home. Either way, it's going to be a tough game. No matter what start time there is, it's probably going to be a night game. You're facing the Super Bowl champions. And, you know, the Eagles, I think they got worse this year. Their roster. I think our roster got better this year. But what does this look like? We're 10-4 in my schedule prediction at this point. So the Eagles could very well be 10-4. Like, this could be the game for the division right here. Although you do see the Eagles soon enough after this. Eagles Commanders, and I am stalling a little bit to make the prediction for this because I'm not sure exactly what this could be. I think that the Eagles win this football game. I think the Eagles win this football game, okay? And I think that we are now 10-5 on the season. You're 10-5 on the season. You just got beat by the Eagles at home. You now have to look to a Christmas game versus the Dallas Cowboys. And this one, it's not going to be an easy one either. Like I said, this division stretch is wicked. It's bad, especially to close out the season. But you beat the Giants. You lose to the Eagles. Now you face the Cowboys at home again. You're at home again. That's the only thing positive for this Eagles-Cowboys stretch. You're at home. But this is a Christmas game. This is nationally televised. This is on Netflix. And it's going to be a tough game. Right now, the Commanders are 5.5-point favorites to win this football game versus the Dallas Cowboys. So you're 10-5. I think you beat the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, I think you beat the Dallas Cowboys here, and you move to 11-5 on the season. So the Commanders at home on Christmas, they barely beat the Dallas Cowboys by the skin of their teeth. They beat the Dallas Cowboys, and you are now 11-5 on the season. I would be fine with this. You know, I would be totally fine with the season going this way as of now. This game is the last game of the regular season. Commanders at the Eagles. You lost to the Eagles earlier in the season. You lost to the Eagles. Now, and that was just 2 weeks ago. Now, on the start of the new year, you have to face the Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. And it's not going to be an easy game. This could very well be the game for the division. Very well be the game for the division. But we don't know that yet. These are always the hardest games to predict because you don't know the circumstances. The Eagles could be sitting their starters, and this could be an easy win for the Commanders. The Commanders could be sitting their starters. You know, we don't know how the circumstances are going to be for this game, so it's hard to pick a winner for this football game. But the Commanders are at 11-5 right now. I don't see us getting swept by the Eagles. I think the Commanders if both sides are playing, both starters are playing, I think the Commanders win this football game by a point. Don't know what that point is yet, but I think the Commanders win this football game by a point if if the starters are playing. And I think the Commanders finish the regular season 12-5. So my official record prediction for the Washington Commanders is 12-5. Is the season done yet? No, it's not. 12-5, it's a very good record, but you have expectations this season. As a football team, you have expectations this season. Dan Quinn always says, the standard is the standard, and he is correct. The standard is the standard this year. You have business to handle in the playoffs now. And I don't know if we're going to be the division champs. I don't know if we're going to be the conference champs. I don't know if we're going to get a bye. But I can try to give you some of what I'm thinking is going to happen this postseason. I said earlier, this would be a success if we just make it to the playoffs. I said that all offseason. That's what I meant. It's just a success if we make it to the postseason because they haven't shown me that they can do this 2 years in a row. Have a great season and then duplicate it. This is the PTSD that I have left, is the team not making the playoffs this year. What if they don't make the playoffs this year? That's the PTSD that I have left with this football team. However, with a record of 12-5, which I predicted the Commanders to go, you have to make the playoffs, right? You're going to make the playoffs with that type of record. You're going to do that. You edged out the Eagles with the last week of the regular season. I don't know if that was for the division or not. I don't know the circumstances there. But you edged out the Eagles. You're now 12-5. I think the Commanders go to the playoffs this year, and I don't think they're going to win the conference. Okay, I'll just be straight up honest with you. I don't think the Commanders win the conference, the NFC. I don't think they do that. So that would result in them not getting a bye week. So the wild card round of the playoffs, just like we were last year, we played the Buccaneers. The Commanders are going to be there. And I think the Commanders get past the wild card round of the playoffs this football season. I think they win their first playoff game, and now their postseason record is 13-5. So you're 13-5, including one postseason game. Okay, now you have to go to the divisional round. It's hard for me to predict this, but you go to the divisional round and you sit here and you have to face a very tough opponent. No matter who it is, it's going to be a very tough game. Last year, you dominated the divisional round. I don't think it's going to be the same this year. I think that the Commanders, it might be a rematch against the Lions in the divisional round. I think the Commanders win their divisional round game. You're now 14-5. Including postseason games. You are 14-5, including postseason games. I think the Commanders, just like last year, win the start of their playoffs. The first two games, they win the playoff games. You've now won the wild card and won the divisional round of the playoffs. 2 years in a row, you've swept those rounds of the playoffs. But who do you face now in the NFC Championship? Is it the Lions? Is it the Eagles? Is it someone unexpected? Is it the Rams? I don't know who the Commanders would face here. But I think the Commanders lose the NFC Championship game for a second year in a row. However, I think the Commanders put up a way better fight. No matter if it's the Eagles, no matter if it's the Lions, I think this year the Commanders put up a really good fight. And I think the Commanders go 12-5 in the regular season. They go 14-6 overall, losing the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row. However, I think this one's going to be a 3-point loss. Maybe a 7-point loss. But I don't see anything more than a 7-point loss. So it's another successful season. But I think in year 2 of an Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels era, I don't think you're ready to go to the Super Bowl yet. I don't think you're ready to go to the Super Bowl yet. And I'm just being honest. I said I'm not biased. I'm not that type of person. So you go 12-5 in the regular season. You go 14-6, including all your playoff games. You wild card. You win that divisional round. You win that. 2 years in a row, you've won both of those games. But I think 2 years in a row, you lose the NFC Championship game, no matter who the opponent is. Unless it's an easy game, this is just my record prediction for the Commanders. So I think in year 2 of a rebuild, you're just not quite there yet. You're just not quite there yet. And I think the year after, obviously, we'll do this again next year, but I think the year after, that's the year where the Commanders finally break through and get to the Super Bowl. But we'll talk about that more later. So 14-6 is my overall record prediction for the Washington Commanders. 12-5 in the overall regular season is my prediction for the Commanders. It all starts next week against the New York Giants, and boy, I cannot wait for the start of this season. But this team has yet to show me in so long that they can go and make the playoffs 2 years in a row. That they can duplicate success 2 years in a row. So, to define a happy, successful... if we lose the NFC Championship, I'm not going to be happy after, but I think on the overall outlook, you've made the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row, you'd be happy because it's only year 2 of the rebuild. I think a successful season for the Commanders would just be one playoff win for me. One playoff win would be a successful win for the Commanders, maybe 2, but I think my record prediction is a successful season for the Commanders. I'd love to see them get one playoff win, go to the postseason. If you miss the playoffs this season for the Commanders, I think it's going to be a very ugly sight. But it's time to get into the floor and ceiling of my record prediction this year. So, I predicted the Commanders to go 12-5 in the regular season. I think the regular season ceiling is, I think that is 14-3. I think 14-3 is the ceiling. You're not going to go any higher than 14-3. It's just too hard of a schedule. And that's just my opinion. I think your floor of what you're going to go, I think the floor for the Washington Commanders this year is 10-7. I think that's the floor of what they're going to go this year. I think that they will not go lower than 10-7. I have the Commanders at 12-5. It is a really tough schedule this year for the Commanders, and I want you guys to realize that. I'm not going to sit here and be a Debbie Downer. Listen, I have them going 12-5. That's a successful season compared to what we've been through in the past, but it's going to be a really tough schedule this year. And it all starts next week with the Giants. That's a tough game. Like, you want to admit it or not, the Giants their defensive line is probably the best in the league. And I will be really disappointed next week if I'm walking out of the stadium with a loss. But, like, that's a very tough season. It's a very tough schedule. So, we'll see what the team does this year. But that's my record prediction. Sorry for the voice cracks, but that's my record prediction for the team this year. 12-5. I think 14-6 in the playoffs. I think you lose 2 years in a row in the NFC Championship game. Don't come at me too hard in the comments for this video, but I think that's what the Washington Commanders do this year, and I think it's a successful season. But we'll see. Do they end up doing worse or better this year? It all starts this Sunday at Northwest Stadium. I'm so excited and intrigued for this year for the team. We can finally call ourselves Super Bowl contenders. I'm right up there with the people that are calling us Super Bowl contenders. I think we are Super Bowl contenders. And that would back up what I said in the record prediction part of this video. I said NFC Championship, like, we're going to make it there, I think. So that would back up. I think we're Super Bowl contenders. We finally have a legit quarterback. Either way, in my 16 years of living, I've never been able to call my football team, my NFL team, a good or even a Super Bowl contender. or even a relevant team. So with that said, I'm at a happy place right now, and we'll see how this season goes. That's going to do it for me. That was my official Washington Commanders record prediction for the 2025 NFL season and some superlatives to go along with it. I hope you enjoyed this video. This week's going to be a busy week. Just stay tuned on the YouTube app. You're going to see me a lot this week. It all kicks off Thursday night. 3 more days until Thursday Night Football. We'll be doing a watch party for that. That's going to kick off our week on the channel, and we'll continue on that later in the week when we play the Giants. So I have my post game out for that. That's going to do it for me. Hail to the Washington Commanders. As always, you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Leave any comments in the comment section whether you thought this was a good prediction or bad prediction. What's your prediction? Leave it on the comment section below. That's going to do it for me. You guys have a great rest of your Monday. Take care. See ya.